One. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever applies. My name is Scott Kelly. I'm the founder and CEO of Black Dog Venture Partners and your host for today's VC Fast Pitch. And I'm really excited today. We've got a great organization that we want to try to support and some great entrepreneurs. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen while everyone else is logging in and just go over some logistical aspects of today. You should be able to see my screen now. I assume you can. If you can give me a thumbs up. That would be very helpful. All righty. Thank you, Dan, for that. Again, Scott Kelly, welcome to today's VC Fast Pitch. I'm going to go over something. Like I said, I'll go over some things today, and I got to keep monitoring the waiting room. I'll get that done. All righty. So, a couple things. We're really honored today to have, we typically have a sponsor for these events, but today we're going to use this event to support a great organization here in the Tampa Bay area called Empowherment. And in a few moments, they're going to share a bit about them, and I'll go over that. Got some upcoming events. For those of you interested, we're going to be hosting a few webinars and events on July 15th. We're going to be hosting a webinar on a company that we represent called Spirit EV. They're going to talk about the art of electrical vehicle electrification. On August 7th, we're going to have our Emerging Managers webinar. I've been hosting a podcast called the Emerging Managers Podcast, and we're taking some of our guests from that podcast and having a webinar from August 7th. So it's going to be kind of a reverse pitch. You'll be able to hear from some great VCs in the market, and actually a couple will be are on the call today. Our next online VC Fast Pitch is going to be on August 14th. Then we're going to be live and in person at the Dulles Marriott Hotel in Virginia and on October 9th. And then we're going to be in Nashville on December 11th. So if you're interested in learning more about any of those events, you can shoot me an email. But the likelihood is very high you're going to get an email from me ahead of time. So for all of you on the register today, I've got a number of great startup tools that I've been building over the last several years. If you're interested in a pitch deck template, a glossary of investor terms, some free and discounted startup resources, and access to some webinars and pitch opportunities, just shoot me an email and I'll get them in your inbox right away. So our agenda today, obviously, I'm going to be going over what I'm doing now, a little bit about our agenda. I'm going to switch up the order today. I'm going to have Empowherment share a bit about themselves first, and then I'm going to have our investor introductions. And basically, we'll ask our investor panelists two things. One, tell them about what they invest and how they invest. And then secondly, tell our entrepreneurs and everybody today what they want to hear in a pitch. And then we've got 6 great companies that'll be doing 5-minute presentations followed by Q&A. And then at the end, what we typically do what's called our fireside chat, where our entrepreneurs and our attendees get to ask questions of our investors, and our investors give us additional feedback on trends in the market or things they liked about the presentations today. So here's going to be in a few moments after we hear from our folks at Empowherment and hear from our investor panelists. We've got 6 great companies. We're going to start off with Bob from PropertyLens, followed by Terry at LVED. Deceptio.AI with Mark, Drum Talk TV with Dan, Mass Skills and Drills with Leigh, and then the Healthy Aging Company presented by Christian. Couple of rules. Please keep your audio muted until you're prompted to do so. It's very important that the entrepreneurs get an opportunity to present without background noise. So if you could do that, that would be great. We're not going to have any recording and note-taking apps. I will and am recording this event, and everyone's going to get an opportunity to listen to everything that's going on. And then finally, I ask everyone to join me in looking for the opportunity to say, show me the money. So with that, what I am going to do, I am going to turn off my chat for a second. Alrighty. All right. I'm going to admit some people. What I'd like to do now is, like I said before, I'm really honored to bring in a great organization that I've been, pleased to be a part of for the last couple of years. Empowherment, I won't take their thunder, but they're doing some great things for women trying to recover and women trying to grow their entrepreneurial journey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow Ambee and Sarah to take over. So Ambee, do you have, you can take the mic, and then Sharon, you can share the screen.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, thank you, Scott, for the opportunity to speak. Thank you all so much who are on this call. To share about what Empowherment does briefly, I'll start by saying who I am. My name is Ambee Stephens. I'm the founder and CEO of Empowherment. But beyond that, I am a everyday woman who needed empowerment herself. Imagine being a woman in a dark place after a loss or a heartbreak, health crisis, or just simply in a crossroads looking for what's next. Most times those women need connection, clarity, and community. That's exactly what Empowerment is. We are an organization that finds the light for women in dark places. I founded this organization in 2018 after the unfortunate loss of my father. I was at the time looking for community. He had just died by suicide, and I needed support and purpose. And so in the effort to find one, I couldn't and built it myself. Empowerment started as a everyday entrepreneurship journey, grassroots, meeting at coffee shops and restaurants, and has since turned into a all-encompassing organization that serves women, over 800 women and families per year through several services. I know Sarah, my incredible friend and board chair, will talk about the Entrepreneurship Academy. But before we get there, I just want to talk about we provide therapy, workshops, financial wellness programs, whatever it is to help a woman find the tools that they need to be self-sufficient. We're more than just an organization, but truly a wraparound service for women and families. So I'm excited to pass the baton to Sarah to speak directly about the Entrepreneurship Academy, and talk more about that. Thank you. Also, my dogs are starting to bark right now, so perfect time. Thank you.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Ambee. And hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Stone. I am going to share my screen, so bear with me 1 second while I press some magical buttons, and I'll be right back. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen from here.
Yep.
So welcome, everybody. Thank you, Scott, again. We really do appreciate the time you're giving us here and the opportunity to speak about empowerment and the services that we are able to provide. As Ambee just mentioned, the Entrepreneurial Academy is one of the many services that we offer. From day-to-day programs, we have women coming into our center that are really looking for community and connection. And Empowerment does provide these services at no cost. The Entrepreneurial Academy is a program that we've run for around 5 years now, and the program itself has adapted and changed over the years. But we build these programs based around what women themselves are looking for, what the need in the community is. I don't need to speak necessarily to the importance of investing in women, but this is what we do every day. We pour back into women in our community. So the Entrepreneurial Academy, which is one of the services that we provide, I want to speak about that today. Empowerment offers these free programs as an opportunity for connection, growth, confidence building. Our mission is to empower women to pursue their goals and overcome boundaries, both personally and professionally. The Academy is one of our more important initiatives as far as it builds in generational growth and wealth. And the program itself has been tailored over the years, like I said, to really speak to the women where they're at. So we go through conversations with the women that come to us. They often start with a hobby. Maybe they want to take their hobby and build it to the next level. They want to make their hobby into a full-time business. Sometimes they already have a concept, an idea, and they come to us to have that conversation of ideation. We talk through the plans and the programs and help them kind of build a strategic plan forward. Very often, these are the first times that women have had the opportunity to even share these thoughts in a space. And so it's really important for us to sit and listen and help provide them with that support. The Academy itself is an 8-week program. It's usually a cohort of around 8 to 10 women. We do offer a hybrid mix, but very often women just want to get together and speak in person and create this sense of community amongst themselves. And whilst I personally am one of the facilitators, I love being able to listen to the women share these concepts and ideas together. Very often they'll bounce ideas off each other, they'll share experiences that they've had, they'll share networking events that they went to. And at the beginning of every session, we have everybody do a pitch. You know, it's one of the big things that people are nervous about. They're concerned about how they sound, how they look, what it is they're saying, does it make any sense? But if you start in a place that feels safe and accountable, we encourage you to just speak from the heart, you know, just kind of go with the flow. And it's incredible week after week, this confidence that suddenly starts. And everyone that's presenting today will know the first time you start this process, you know, you feel anxious and you're not really sure how it's going to sound. But after a few attempts, you start to build that confidence and you're kind of off on a roll. So again, the program's out the self. It starts with these initial ideas, ideation, conversation, and we start by building them a business model canvas. Again, another tool that a lot of you will be familiar with and will have used in the past. The business model canvas really helps them create a space where they have a tool to go back to and really understand their business when they're faced with a new decision. They find themselves going back to the business model canvas to use that as a basis or foundation to really make sure that the ideas and decisions that they make are in alignment with what they originally created. So the next step beyond that, beyond ideation, is our startup strategy, how to turn ideas into action and avoid many common pitfalls, which we all run into. And again, the pitfalls are a learning and a stepping stool to get to the next level. We help women define their target audience. So focus on a beachhead market, allowing them to build an early momentum. From there, we go across to a value proposition, what makes their business unique. They dive into finances, what programs other people are using for bookkeeping, for accounting, for taxes, just making sure they start off on the right foot, so that they aren't making mistakes in the beginning that can be costly and expensive moving forward. So from there, we offer insights. Like I said, the business model canvas is a tool we go back to. We provide journey mapping. We design like a customer experience. Again, the elevator pitch kicks in. We offer tools for market research. Again, we offer network where people can pitch their business ideas to local groups. And then we also have speakers coming in. We have professionals that join us that talk to financial responsibility. We have attorneys come in and talk about what kind of entity might best suit you. We have other entrepreneurs that have come in, people that are familiar with the path that they're taking. And these stories, again, are inspirational. One of our speakers is Helia Mohammedian, who has come in through her own business, Slick Chicks. She created a line of adaptable underwear for people that just don't have full capable movement in their body. And her business has been struggling, but she is now featured in Nordstrom's, in Target. Her products are on the shelf. This is like a tangible success story that people can hear and be inspired by. But people like that will come in and share their own story so that they know these things are possible. So, you know, we know that investing in women is an important part of what we do, and it's part of the empowerment story. I'm not alone in sharing my success and stories. Like I said, Ambee, who spoke before me, myself, I'm a facilitator in the program, and then Gwendolyn is another affiliate that brings in her own stories of growth and development and helps with structural business organization. I will, at the end of this conversation, share our information in the chat, if that's okay with Scott, when the time is right. So if people want to reach out and connect to us. We also just launched, which I'll briefly mention, a mentorship program, so that when women complete the Entrepreneurial Academy, we do organically check in with them throughout the course of the next year and just make sure that they have the tools and resources that they need. But we just created this mentorship program, which is accessible through our website, and we are matching people, male, female, whoever wants to join in. Even though we're a women's organization, we know the importance of any support we can receive. And we're sharing a list of maybe 20 or so ways in which we're looking for mentorship, something from logistical skills, from financing, from organizing your business, from building confidence, and we are matching these mentors that sign up to the mentees once they have graduated the academy. Again, all the information is through the website. Hopefully I've given you a fair enough outline of the services we provide, but these are very important programs that, like I said earlier, can create generational wealth. They're creating success in our community, and the women themselves are creating give back in the community, and very often they come back and speak to our new entrepreneurs, sharing their own story of success and often struggle, because we all definitely go through that part. But it's a great, it's just a great opportunity for women in the area to be able to come in and put their goals and their input into action. And we're here to provide that service. So thank you, Scott. If you want to learn more, I've put a QR on the page. There's also, if there is a call to support us, we have a space to donate, which we obviously greatly appreciate anybody on the call. I'll share our information in the chat, and if Scott, later on, we'll go ahead and share the information once more. So thank you so much. We're really grateful for this opportunity, Scott. We're grateful for your support. We know, obviously, we're grateful of your connection to the organization and for every opportunity that we have to talk about empowerment and empowering women. Thank you, Scott.
Awesome. Yes, Sarah definitely posted in chat. And thank you, Sarah and Ambee, for coming in today. As a child of a single mom, having to pull herself off the bootstraps and dating a single mom, having to do the same. An organization that's been near and dear to my heart. So again, thank you again for being there, and I encourage you all to support them. So now that we've had this presentation, let's get to the getting. And again, thanks again for Sarah and Ambee. Now, what I'd like to do, we've got a number of investors on our investor panel, and some are going to be listening in, and hopefully all of them are going to be active. But what I'd like to do now is go around the virtual room and have our investor panelists introduce themselves and really answer two questions. One, tell them a little about yourself, how you invest, what you invest in, or about your thesis. And then really what I want to do today, for the benefit of our presenting companies and our attendees, share a little bit about what you want to hear in a pitch today. So I'm gonna start with my Irish mate, Brian from Expert Dojo. Brian, why don't you share a little about yourself and then what you want to hear in a pitch today?
Hey, Scott. Thank you for inviting me. Always love being here. Great investors on the call that I can see. Good luck to all the founders that are coming. I love early stage startup. I think our fund is a combination of growth and investment, and we believe they're inextricably linked. The market right now has kind of moved it very much into that direction. We've invested in around 300 companies over the last 5 or 6 years or so. We have a brand new fund we opened over in Miami, which is the Celebrity Fund. We have another very big fund that we opened up over in India, which we expect to do probably a couple of hundred companies over in India directly as well. And we take early stage companies, work with them, hopefully help them grow and turn them into bigger companies. And look, there's a thing we've started doing with our companies, which is what we call a Be Fair score. And Be Fair is like, the B is the boosted piece, and the fair is like future annualized adjusted investor returns. And because that's all that matters. And the way we do it is, because I think this will really help startups, rather than give a big story of all the wonderful things that are happening in the world and why what you're doing is really important. That was kind of useful in 2021. Today, what investors want to know is, how much is your valuation today? When is your valuation going to grow to your next significant round? What's the increase in valuation going to be to that next significant round, so they can see what their future IRR is? And right now, people are comparing you with gold. They're comparing you with the stock market. They're comparing you with investing in NVIDIA. They're comparing you to cybersecurity shares and all the other things that are out there as well. So you just want to show how you're going to increase revenue, which is going to drive the growth of your valuation, which is going to give what would be thought of as an investor as a future IRR. And the quicker you get to that, the more you're going to influence investors to want to put money into you. But lovely to be here, Scott. Thank you very much. And as I said, good luck everybody who's pitching.
Thanks, Brian. June, welcome to our webinar and seminar today. You want to share a bit about what you're investing in, how you're investing, and what do you want to hear from the presentation today?
Hi, Scott. Thanks for having me. And hi, everybody. My name is June Choi. I'm the managing partner of Serval Ventures, and we look for data-rich companies, because one of the things we do with our portfolio companies is we help them with data strategies that can increase revenues and valuations with robust data strategies. And that's not just selling data, right? And we're also developing a data-driven approach to investing. And to that end, we've launched version 2, our beta version of our investability assessment, which is going to become a robust AI. But what we have in that no one else has is we have a behavioral science embedded into it that can assess entire teams. So feel free to go to our website, servalventures.com, and take that for startups. It's all free. And it's the tool that can help you understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. And if you can just increase your weaknesses, you can immediately increase your investability score, right? So
June, what do you want to hear from the presenting companies today?
yeah. So one of the things, I mean, I agree with Expert Dojo, and I want to hear numbers. But the other thing that, but he already covered that. The other thing I also want to hear is that you always talk about a big giant TAM. Okay, great. And then you talk about a SOM, and oftentimes it's like, if we get 5% of the TAM, okay, that is meaningless. What I want to hear from you is, how are you going to achieve the SOM? Because that helps us as investors understand how you will be able to actually capture the market that you say you're going to get. That, and if we believe and you're convincing about your strategy, that helps us understand you're likely to get there, more likely to get there than most. And so that will encourage us to want to invest in you.
All right, thanks for that, June. I appreciate that. I'm going to call my old friend David Blackledge from the glorious state of Arizona. David, you there?
I'm still here. 117 yesterday, and I'm still here. I'm just hiding now until September.
117. I'm not going to tell you I miss those temperatures, David. But Dave, thanks for joining today. So why don't you share a little bit about what you do investor-wise and as an individual and part of Canyon Angel Investors, and then tell everybody what you want to hear today.
Great. So mercifully brief background of mine. I was in tech startups for well over 30 years, asking people for money. And then I became a late in life attorney. And now I teach people how to ask for money. I also teach law and ethics at a local college. But I'm an active angel investor, not as big as people like Expert Dojo and Brian. I've been in about a few dozen angel investments. Some wins, some losses, like everyone else. And that's what I do when I'm an advisor to a lot of companies as well. What I like to hear from people pitching, I still go back to a lot of my friends, and I agree. We bet on jockeys, not horses, right? First up, we want to say, are the people involved? Do they have a purpose and why they're forming their business? Secondly, I really look for what I would call a rational business model. Valuations, forecasts, things like that. A lot of entrepreneurs get caught up and say, let me try to impress. And the fact is I like the most conservative estimates that you can imagine. If it works in a very conservative model, if things are going poorly and you still succeed, then you're going to be successful as a business. So I just want to say that, and no joke, I want people that that would be a good use of my money. Okay, or they're going to be good stewards of my investment. So the experience helps a lot. If they have prior exits, that helps a lot. But more to the point, if they know how to manage money and how to run their business on a very conservative basis, that impresses me.
Well, thanks, David. Thanks for being here today. So, Tim Holliday, thanks for coming on today, Tim. And I love having Tim on because he kind of did a full circle. He actually pitched at one of my events years ago, and now he's a prolific investor on his own. So, Tim, welcome, and tell us a little bit about Space Station and what do you want to hear today?
Yeah, that 60-second pitch definitely changed the course of kind of my life and how I like to think. And now I get to invest in a ton of great early stage consumer companies. Consumers are focused, 112 portfolio companies, Olipop, Slate Milk, Magic Spoon, Oura Ring, and then also recently Beast Industries. So Mr. Beast's world, we kind of live in that creator economy. And as we syndicate these deals, we bring great creators, influencers. I was just on with an Olympian into these rounds as investors with us. We're also raising a fund right now, just started. So, and because of our consumer focus and because of our strategic value on helping consumer brands go to market, that's kind of my focus almost always, and certainly today, is like, what's the go-to market? It's one thing to think of an idea. It's one thing to build it. It's another thing to really get it to the market. And that'll be the focus for me.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Tim. I
Yeah,
know we
thanks
got
for
some
having me.
other investors on the panel. I'm scrolling up and down the participants. If you are one of our investor panelists and I missed you, you can either use the raise hand function or just unmute yourself and start talking to us. So I know I've got a few I'm missing. So I will. Okay, I got a raised hand function. All right, Pablo, go ahead. Thank you. And thank you, Howard. You'll be next. Pablo first and then Howard. Thanks, Pablo.
Good morning, everyone. And Scott, thanks for the invitation. I am the GP at Plus Ultra Capital Partners. We are a late seed and Series A investor. We are stage specific, but reasonably technology agnostic. We look for companies who have achieved product market fit. And to us, product market fit is not about vibes, it's about evidence. And so we have a very quantitative approach to looking at where we invest in that sense. What we bring to the table is all our investment partners come out of substantial 25-year careers of go-to-market operations. So we join companies to help accelerate them after product market fit. We don't bet on ideas or technology, we bet on execution. And so what I would love to hear in today's presentations are numbers, the numbers in and around traction and the different things that show people are either getting that traction through usage patterns, customer research, all the kinds of growth indicators, all the kinds of things that would give people confidence that even if they don't have everything perfectly aligned and things aren't working great, they're at least thinking about them.
Fantastic. Thanks, Howard. Thanks for joining us today. Katie, welcome, and thanks for joining us today. So share a little bit about what you're investing in, how you invest, and then for everyone here, tell a little more about what you want to hear today.
Yes, I'm Katie Weiss over at FF Venture Capital. We're looking for amazing companies in the manufacturing and energy space. So think AI, drones, robotics, anything electrification. New fund is going to be investing kind of within that thesis. And as others have said before us, we do invest in ideas. We do invest in products. We do invest in a lot of things, but the most important thing to us is teams and numbers and execution. So really looking to find someone who's an expert within their own space, can teach me something new today and get me really excited based on numbers and within these spaces. Yeah.
Thanks, Katie. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining. Have I missed any other investor panelists? I know we got a couple that are coming in later. Yep, jump in.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, jump in. Go ahead.
You keep cutting me off there, Scott. This is Howard. I didn't present.
I apologize.
That was somebody
You're
else.
up next, Howard. Go ahead.
Okay, so serial entrepreneur, angel investor, founder of TechStart, which is a Toronto and LA-based boutique incubator focused on fractional C support for consumer electronics startup companies, promoting licensing of technology into markets like consumer electronics, blockchain, Internet of Things, semiconductors, and so on. And so we typically focus on pre-seed to seed, check sizes from 25K to 100K. We've closed 6 different rounds, 6 different investments this year, most recently with a digital health startup down in Hollywood. And what we're most interested in is basically how you're going to make money. How's the company going to make money if you're producing a widget for 88 cents and you're trying to sell it for 99? It's not going to work. So we want to know, how are you going to make money? Does the business plan make sense? Does the company have a capital efficient, scrappy culture? Are you trying to save money and not spend it? So it's important to prove to us investors that you can show a realistic big picture of a 5-year plan, and not only on estimated revenues, but also expenses and included. So that's what we're looking at.
Fantastic. Thanks, Howard, for joining us. And I apologize for the closing hand thing on you. I know someone else, we had one or two other.
Hey, Scott. Anthony.
Hi, Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw you at the Expert Dojo event, right? Yeah, and you sent me an invite. but unfortunately, I don't have that function to raise hand. I don't know why, but I couldn't
Don't
find
worry about it, Anthony. You're fine.
it. So, I'm an angel and a VC. So I'm with LA Venture Partners. I'm an LP, but at the same time, I also focus on the angel investing side. So on my angel investing side, I have 22 companies in my portfolio, and 6 of them are going IPO and M&A. So the way I look at investments is pretty radical. It's not how everyone looks at it, but so far, the way I look at, the thing that I do, the thing that I evaluate has given me that 6 out of that 22, record, right? My very first investment 13 years ago was SpaceX. Also got into Uber. So I've got.
They're both doing pretty well. Anthony, what do you want to hear from the companies presenting today?
So first and foremost, the way I look at things, I want to get to know the founder first. Because before I deploy money, I need to trust you, right? So I need to get to know the founder, who you are, what your vision is. You have ego, you have sense of entitlement. I need to find out all of that good stuff. And then the other thing I look at is the barrier to entry. Because a lot of founders, they say, oh, we have a patent, we have a barrier to entry, but most of them really do not have a strong barrier to entry, right? Because a bigger player can come in and make something similar to what you're doing and shut down your business, right? So to me, the barrier to entry is really, really important. Before even all the market fit and all that, I need to know the barrier to entry. So that's kind of the short spiel.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us, Anthony. I appreciate that. So, well, I'm glad I was able to bring on a new friend and a very special guest. And I hope we get some good info throughout the day. And I may even put her out on the spot towards the end. She is the queen of pitch, $2.5 billion of products sold. Welcome, Forbes. Why don't you share a bit about yourself and what you want to hear in the picture today? Are you there? I tried to call her. Alrighty, well, I guess we'll hear from.
You hear me now? Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Forbes.
All right. So what I want to say, thank you, Scott, for having me today. You bring together amazing people. I love what Anthony said about about the owners in terms of a sense of entitlement and ego. Thank you for acknowledging that's one of the things that we're looking for. Hey, you guys, you may have seen me on late night television. I've done 197 infomercials, everything from the Jacqueline Juicer to working with Billy Mays, Montel Williams, George Foreman Grill, you name it. I was there. The entire 90s as that industry was exploding, generating over $2.5 billion. I also took hundreds of products on QVC and to infomercials. In fact, I've got a meeting tonight about a new infomercial product. They're still alive and well and generating hundreds of millions of dollars through campaigns on television. I now teach and coach people how to pitch, how to get that idea out of their head and their heart to you guys as investors, although I'm an investor as well. So what are we looking for today's pitch? Be succinct. Let us know that your solution solves a problem that many people suffer from. As Anthony said, let's see who you are and why we should invest in you as the person, because the ideas are great, but someone's going to make the machine work. And a return on investment, that's what all investors want. They want to see how fast and how accurately can we get our money back and how big can we blow this up. So Scott, to you and all the investors, and Brian, big shout out. Thank you guys very much, and I will be listening.
Fantastic. Thank you all to our investors here. We'll probably have some others come in throughout the day. We'll take a break from time to time. For all of you on the call today that aren't presenting, I would encourage you to stick around because at the end, you'll get your shot. After we do our main presentation, we'll do some open Q&A, a little bit of networking online, so you get your opportunity at the end. But now we're going to focus on these great entrepreneurs presenting today. So I am going to now throw out the presenting companies in order of presentation. And first up is going to be Bob from PropertyLens. So I'm going to put them all there so you know who's coming up and who's next. So are you there, Bob?
I am.
All righty. So Bob, you've done this before, but for the benefit of everybody else, Bob's going to share his screen in just a moment. And then I'm going to count him down 3, 2, 1. He is going to get exactly 5 minutes. And if you've been involved in this event, you know it's exactly 5 minutes. There's various levels of obnoxious banter and conversation I'll have when you get past 5. And for all presenting companies today, just keep your eye on chat. You will get a 30-second warning in chat when you got 30 seconds left. So, Bob, you want to share your screen?
Sure.
All right, Bob, I'm going to count you down. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, everybody. I am Bob Frady. I am the CEO and co-founder of PropertyLens. I want to take you back to a time that may not have been such a happy time in your life. I want to take you back to the last time you tried to buy a house. And for far too many people, this is the emotion that they end up expressing because it's such a stressful process. And it's not just us, it's the data that backs us up. 82% of home buyers express regrets about their recent purchase property, according to the National Association of Realtors. And 42% of buyers wish they had done more research to identify hidden expenses before they bought their house. There's no Carfax for homes. We know, we looked around, we bought houses, we tried to see them. There wasn't one until now. We're PropertyLens. We wish to become the most valuable resource in home buying by pulling thousands of data elements together, creating curated lists of questions to ask sellers and inspectors before you ever make an offer on a property. We look at insurability factors. We look at roof, flood, hazard, hundreds of data points, most of which are not publicly available. We actually have a product live in the market right now. If you order a PropertyLens report, it's 45 pages of insights before you even walk in the door. We also summarize it for those folks who just want the highlights. This is just a sample of some of the things that you can see in the report. We also give you a list of seller questions that you can print out beforehand and say, ask these questions based upon the data for this specific house, or print this list if you decided to buy a house and give it to your inspector. So they make sure you do the good inspection and not just the one that gets the deal done. When you talk about data, we harness lots and lots of data. Some we buy, most we build. Whether it's insights all the way down to prior damaging events. We have more than 3 million 3 million locations where this property's been damaged before, whether it's from a fire, from a flood, from a wildfire. The question is, who are we? Well, John and I, my co-founder, have been doing this most of our careers. We actually built a company called Hazard Hub, which was a geospatial risk company, and sold it to Guidewire in 2021 for a very wonderful exit on a 6-year time horizon. And that's our time horizon for this as well. Data is what we do. Harnessing data is what we do. We went to look for this product and it didn't exist. And so we thought, well, we'll build it. So that's what we've done, and that's why we started PropertyLens. Last year, there are just over 4 million home sales. Buyers evaluate approximately 10 homes per purchase, which gives a TAM of about $2 billion. When you expand this into the inspection market, which is one of our target markets, it doubles that TAM. But again, our target is 100 million in revenue. Here's our progress to date. We launched our MVP in October. We've sold more than 1,000 reports to consumers. We get about 6,000 visitors per week to our site. We also sell the data in bulk to insurance companies and inspection companies. We ended Q1 at 235 in ARR, and we project to end the year at approximately 700K in ARR. Here's what we want to do next. We just finished the 2-year expenditures for your roof, HVAC, and other household systems. So when you walk in, you'll know, here's how much I should have to spend on this house in the next couple of years. Taxes and insurance eat up people's ability to pay for a home. They constantly go up. That's something that we're going to launch in Q3, is the ability to project that. We'll add AI chat to ability to query our reports, so you can just ask simple questions of the report or across multiple reports. And then eventually we'll allow users to interact with the report and not just have a data report. We've raised 1.7 million in pre-seed, including 550,000 from us, John and I. We're looking to raise a seed round of $4 million, aggressively expand in the consumer market. the home you love shouldn't break your heart later. We want you to know the truth before you make an offer. I'm Bob Frady. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great job, Bob. So we'll start with our investors. If investors have questions, you can either raise the hand function or just post something in chat and I can call on you. If any investors have questions, feel free to do that. So Bob, what's going to be your key go-to-market? I'm here in Florida, and obviously we had a major hurricane last year, and everyone's very nervous about hurricanes this year. I mean, are you going to be approaching insurance companies, contractors? What's the B2B opportunity?
The B2B opportunity for us is with insurance companies and with inspectors. So when somebody goes to a property, they have to find out where the fire hydrants are, where the fire stations are. We can pre-fill all of that data for an insurance inspection. For a home inspection, we can alert the inspector to things that might not normally be covered. For example, my house here has a radon issue that was never disclosed. So we had the inspector do a radon, which is a $150 upsell to them. And turns out the radon level was elevated. So we had the buyer put a remediation system in to make sure that we didn't have, radon issues going forward. So that's on the B2B side, primarily insurance companies and inspection companies, and then third parties who serve those companies as well.
Okay.
But on the but we think that the B2B side is a good, solid piece of the business, but the real potential for this business is on the B2C side.
Okay. So you think this is going to be part of the process? Everyone's going to do this before they buy a house. They're just going to be more or less trained, or it's going to become like, anything else you would do, getting pre-qualified for a mortgage and things of that nature.
We want it to be as ubiquitous as a Carfax report.
Fantastic.
79% of used car sales have a Carfax report attached to them. We would love to be part of that. But we're asking the industry to change. So it's always a challenge to get the industry to change.
Right. We got a few questions from our panelists. June, you can go first. June.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest questions I have, and I'm sorry, the slide went by before I could finish reading it, but I'm wondering if you also capture the climate data, because like in Texas, the flash flood was because they were capturing historical data on other patterns, but not on rain patterns, right?
Yep, we do. We actually have, that's our background, is geospatial risk analysis. And it's a tragedy what happened. Every single one of those places was identified as a flash flood risk. So we do include that. But what we found is that people talk about climate change, but they don't ever think it will happen to them. But we do localize it down to the property to say, are you in a flood zone, 100-year or 500-year flood zone? What is the expected flood risk of that location? Whether it's wildfire or flood or wind or hail or tornado, lightning, all of those things are measured inside of the system.
Great. Thank you. We got a few other questions I want to try to get through. Howard, go ahead, Howard.
Yeah, thanks. Just a couple things. First one was, are you rolling this out nationwide, or are you focusing on one region at a time? Because regional requirements are a little bit different from one place to the next, right?
They are, in that the data sources can sometimes differ. Florida is, a pretty gnarly state in terms of data access. The system works nationally. So you can, except for Alaska, because the aerial imagery in Alaska is not very good. And it was a conscious choice to build it that way, because we've got so much experience in building this data that we were able to put together a system that works nationally. Now, there are always challenges with localities, but there are, for the most part, national coverage on all of our data elements.
Right. And the other question I had, not so much a question, but more of a comment on, obviously this is not a long enough pitch in order to get into a lot of the details around your roadmap, but I envision a lot of potential licensing aspects where real estate agents and their companies can license your solution around some type of an AI language model, and they can really go to town in their particular segment, utilizing all that data that you're generating. And they're happy, they got their customers happy, and you on your end, you're collecting more data because you have more people running your system.
It's funny. I just got off a call with a realtor yesterday, and she said, and she had a report, and I said, "What do you think?" She goes, "I never want to see a buyer come to an open house with this report. It just gives them it just gives them too much power," which we're actually going to turn into an advertising campaign. But it does represent change, just like when, I was around when Carfax first came out.
Yeah.
Dealers hated Carfax. They still kind of hate it, but
They
now it's
do.
part of
They
the
do.
woodwork because you have to
you-
win the consumer first,
Yep.
and that brings the businesses along.
So, Bob, we got a few more questions. I'm going to try to squeeze them all in. So, for our last three, we got Tim, we'll do Brian, and then Sarah. It's kind of keeping brief. Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. Great job, Bob. So, pushing up or projecting 700K in ARR is no joke. It's awesome. It's exciting. Up until now, how do you attribute kind of the revenue growth? What have you guys done? Is it just organic, word of mouth? How is it working today?
The revenue is primarily from our connections in the insurance and inspection space. I mean, we've sold this data for on and off for the last 20 years. This is the fourth time we've built a data repo around climate and weather risk. But now it's just a much bigger repo because there's more to it. But we have, when we sold our company, people are like, we don't necessarily like the company that you sold to. So we know you're doing stuff with data. So how about you come and talk to us again?
Got it.
And so that we're in the process of going through a lot of those evaluations right now.
It's interesting, Bob. Today I was on LinkedIn and Guidewire was promoting the Hazard Hub ebook.
Listen, I love the fact that Hazard Hub is so entrenched in the industry. I built it. So,
Awesome.
I want to do the same thing for real estate.
I'm going to take two more quick questions. Brian McMahon, you had a question, Brian?
You said quick now twice. Now I think it's all aimed at me, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much aimed at you.
I'm gonna try and make an exception this time. Keep this very short. First of all, just like on the pitching side, one of the things that was really nice about what you did was you hit us real quick with the fact that you're a very strong exited founder that's made a lot of money for investors before. It's really important. And this is like dating, right? So at the very beginning, my emotions are picked up and I'm like, these people know exactly what they're doing. Strong, experienced founders who know how to execute. And then I think you hit us with a really strong value proposition because everybody wants to know this information from their place. So it's like the thing you're fixing in the world is a huge, huge, huge problem. Here's the only thing. And I guessed what Tim just asked there. I just kind of guessed it was you were going to start with service, becoming a service business by just doing valuations for insurance companies, and then you'd move yourself into the consumer space. The only thing that you're going to struggle with investors is believing that you're going to be able to get all of the information you need to truly be able to give the full truth. Because this is not like fixing a car. If a car is going to be fixed, unless it's cosmetic, it's got to go into a shop. And as soon as that's made law that they have to make that official, it's okay. But you still have people fixing their roofs and their plumbing and God knows what else with their best friend Bob. And that's not going anywhere. So how do you convince people that this thing will be real rather than it just being 45 pages of just very nice pictures?
The thing that we've seen so far is we try to stick to events that require permits in most municipalities. So if you're going to replace the roof, if you're going to change the HVAC, even the windows in some places, you need to have permits for that. So the permits are a really important source for us to determine what's been done. But the real goal of this is not to replace your inspection. It's to make you a more informed buyer. So when you walk in the door, you can say, here's the questions I have that I want you to answer. Questions you might answer them great. But at least you want to know that these are the things that look like yellow or red flags on this property. Ask those questions and then decide to make an offer, not the other way around. Because right now, the way it happens is you make an offer and then you ask all the questions. And it's heartbreaking when you get to that point and have to try to go through a very difficult negotiation. We want to pull all that stuff forward as much as we can. And if anybody wants a sample report, just shoot me your address. Preferably if the house is on the market, it's better. But we can still do your own house if you want. Just shoot me an address and I'll give you a report and you can judge for yourself.
Yeah, and I'll be sending follow-up information, all the founders post-event along with the recording. But I think this next one, I'll take Sarah's question because I think this is probably more geared towards her day job. So Sarah, what's your question?
My question was more of a consumer side as an agent, is how are you guaranteeing accuracy, and for how long from you've purchased the report, and would that be active for, or are there active updates available? But really it's more about accuracy, is what kind of a guarantee do we have when we're looking at this report that it's actually actual facts?
The guarantee that we have, well, it's all actual facts because that's how we build the underlying data. If you don't like the report, you get your money back. We offer a money back guarantee with the report. So we can't necessarily guarantee that, like, for example, if you pull a permit for a location and we bring it in, we're assuming that that permit information is correct. Now whether that work was completed or not, we'll put a prompt up to say it looks like it's not completed, probably because the builder didn't close the permit. We are always reliant on the underlying data. So what we do instead is to say, you don't like it, here's your money back.
Awesome. Bob, great job. Thank you. Again, I'll be sharing Bob's information post-event with everybody along with his presentation today. So, all righty. Thanks, Bob. Next up, we have got Terry. Terry, you there?
I am, Scott. Thank you very much. Let me pull up my deck and we'll go from there. Bear with me 1 second.
Okay.
As I share my screen. And hit share, boom. And go into presentation mode. Okay.
All righty.
Did you see it?
Three. Yep, you're good. 3, 2, 1, go.
So hello, everybody. My name is Terry Anderton. I'm the founder and CEO of LVED. We've presented here in the past, and in the past, we were a direct consumer company, and we've made a pivot. We're now going B2B, and we're excited to show you a little bit more about the company and how we've progressed over time. First of all, why are we here? It's a huge market. 50% of families don't have any kind of estate planning tool. $32 billion is left on the table with unnecessary taxes and other things. And a big emerging threat is 30% of all cryptocurrency is lost because people have lost their credentials or they have died without passing them along. And that is unrecoverable. You can never recover that. And that's about $660 billion worth of cryptocurrency that is just forever wiped out. We're a very experienced group of entrepreneurs. Myself, I've built many startup companies, taken them all the way to exit. First one was Nitro Security, sold it to Intel for $150 million, built an e-learning company that I took public. And most recently, I built Wags, which was a connected pet product company that is now Halo, if anybody has seen the ads for Halo. They're doing about $120 million in revenue a year on our products. My co-founder is Ryan Anderson. He is from an MIT MBA as well as computer science master's degree from MIT. Kevin Eaton is our CTO, and he's got a PhD in machine learning. We have a lead estate attorney that is part of the team, and another co-founder is an attorney named Travis Johnson. Just some key milestones. I moved all of the data up front as a result of listening to what the investors want to hear. We launched the company in 10/22. We're fully licensed in all 50 states. We ran a successful beta back last summer with 1,000 direct-to-consumer customers. We now have a really good institutional investor support. We've been able to attract investments from MIT, Softtech Ventures, Expert Dojo, Whitman Advisors, which is a strategic investor in the CPA accounting space, RSSA, which is also in the is a software company that's also in an adjacent space to us, and most recently Unison Globus, which is another CPA focused firm. We have 16 affiliates right now. The most recent one is called ATAX with 130 locations nationwide. If you're familiar with like H&R Block, ATAX is very similar to that, and they now are offering estate planning through their tax offices. We made our first revenue in Q3 of last year. We closed the year with 100,000 in revenue. Right now we're on a 30K MRR, and we expect to be at about 200K MRR by the end of the year. So we're starting to really get some traction. Just in terms of who we're partnered with, we've been really focused on building relationships with companies that can help us strategically place our software into their businesses. So right now we have a lot of CPA firms that are evaluating us and looking to add estate planning is part of their offering, as well as wealth management firms, insurance companies. We are fully, SOC 2 compliant. We've built this thing for really robust enterprise class security. We don't have a lot of time in this presentation to go through all aspects of the platform, but it's a complete platform that does everything from all your legal documents for estate planning. It has a digital vault that stores all of your passwords, your documents, but it has a very unique feature in that it escrows everything and will pass it along to your intended beneficiaries upon a qualifying event, which is usually death or incapacitation. It also does all your legacy planning, and it's all built in one platform. The go-to-market is very simple. We have both an affiliate model where we work with affiliates. The consumers pay $299 a year and then $100 a year thereafter for a license. It's very cheap compared to what it would take to get what we offer from an attorney. Usually attorneys charge anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 for an estate plan, and it's static. Ours is dynamic. You can make changes at any time and update your estate plan as many times as you want, and you don't pay anything additional. We also offer through advisors a per seat license. And what that allows them to do is they'll pay us $5,000 a seat, and then they can offer this to their clients, up to 50 clients, and they can charge whatever they want or provide it for free. Oftentimes they use our software for free for their clients because they're making their money on identifying opportunities for life insurance or other products where they make a lot more money. We've already raised $600,000 in safes prior to 2025. We started a $1.5 million Series Seed preferred at $7.5 million pre-money. We've already raised 520 in that Series Seed preferred. We have another 150 circled that we expect to close this month. And so there's about $830,000 available in this round. So we're purpose-built for wealth management. What we do is we help advisors build trust with their customers and provide a much needed service that they don't.
Right, Terry, I'm gonna have you end it there. We can fill in the gaps during Q&A. So if you have a question for Terry, you can raise your hand in the raise hand function or post something in chat, and I can call on you. So obviously, as Terry mentioned, we have a previous investor on our call today. So Brian McMahon's on the call. So thank you for your support there. So June, you got a question? Go ahead, June.
Yeah, very interesting. I like it a lot, especially your digital vault, because I've seen a lot of issues around that. My question is, there's also potential, if you do it well and do it right, for a very robust data strategy, right? And this is not just tracking and using customer data, but also potentially understanding and giving insights into your B2B customers about what the users, what the trends are, right? Do you have a data strategy that encompasses that?
We're an MIT founded company. We are all over the data strategy in terms of leveraging AI, how we can do very personalized results for you as an individual, because everybody's different. You might have children that are different ages, located in different geographies.
Yeah, I'm actually talking about data strategy for your company to help you as a company.
Well, I'd love to learn more about your vision on that.
I'd love to talk to you about
that. Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to hear more.
It would be very interesting.
Absolutely. We are very open. Like, even though we're very experienced people, we have a lot to learn, and we love to partner with people that are smarter than us that can bring something to the table. So I'd love to talk to you.
I don't know if I'm smarter, but I'd love to,
I was just gonna.
I love talking
say,
about data.
You have a state college guy with a couple of MITs on the presentation. I doubt that we're smarter than you by any stretch, Terry.
Scott, can I add just a comment as an investor?
Jump in, Brian.
Because I saw them invest before, and I invested very fast, and I invested because they're executors. They've done this before, very similar to the first presentation. We know that's the difference in 99% of cases. But I also love what they're doing within digital assets. Digital assets are not just the future, they're the present. Nobody's doing anything in digital assets. It is unbelievably complicated to build something out. I mean, this thing looks 100 times simpler than it actually is. And they've done a phenomenal job in building out a beast, and everything they've said they're going to do on growth, they've done it so far. So just kudos to the guys, everything they've done. I'm very, very happy as an investor.
Thank you, Brian. And by the way, Brian has been amazing, and we haven't even leveraged Brian as much as we should, but it's been great. So thank you, Brian.
We're going out for dinner later on tonight.
Okay, all right.
We're having a bromance here.
Okay, all right.
Not an Elon Trump bromance. It's a great. No, these guys,
yeah, not that kind.
Yeah, these guys are just amazing. I just wanted to put it out there. Thank you.
Fantastic. Any other questions for Terry? So Terry, I mean, I want to kind of delve in a little bit more of this digital side, because obviously, as Brian mentioned, you know, now that cryptocurrency is starting to become, you know, more publicly in vogue and politically in vogue, you've got, you know, vaults and custodianship. Maybe you could dive a little bit more about how you can partner with, you know, custodian companies or digital asset companies. Is there a possibility there?
Yeah, and I'll make it clear, we're not a crypto wallet. So
Right.
we don't actually store the actual cryptocurrency.
Gotcha. Okay.
We store the credentials.
Gotcha.
And that is critical, actually, because I'm sure everybody's heard the story of the guy who's going through the dump right now, trying to go through 20 years of dump, looking for the hard drive because he lost it, right?
Right.
And so what we've built, we have a patent on, and it's beyond military grade security. We can't even break into it. Even if we were subpoenaed by an attorney, we could not provide any information that's located in our digital vault. That said, it's the only digital vault out there that has this escrow function. There's a lot of, you can get password keepers, you can get other types of things, but they still require you to give the credentials to somebody else if you want them to have it. This is like, what happens if you die? How do people get what you have, all your digital assets? It could even be things like your frequent flyer accounts, your iTunes library, whatever it is. We store all of those credentials and will individually pass them on to the exact recipient you want upon your death. And that's the unique value proposition. And that includes
Fantastic. Great. I wasn't sure June had another question up, but your hand went up and down. So I'll give you a quick shout if you have a question or follow.
Well, he kind of answered it, although, you know, when you say you can't break into it, you know, everything can be broken into, right? There will be some creative hacker in the future that will break into it. So do you have a plan for continuing to evolve your cybersecurity? Because that is going to be critical, because this digital vault is so interesting, right?
Yeah.
That'll be critical to your market, you know, position.
Yeah, knock on wood. And I will say, my previous company was Nitro Security, and it was the core infrastructure security for all the three-letter agencies. It's now Intel Security. This is what I eat, breathe, and live, is security, along with, you know, Ryan and Kevin. And knock on wood, you know, right now, unless quantum compute, you know, of course, quantum computing can break anything at some point. But we believe we have something very special in terms of the security posture.
Right. Fantastic, Terry. Thank you. Like I said, we'll be sharing his information post-event. Thanks again. All right, next up, Mark, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, Mark, you've got the advantage of a couple of pros in front of you. So why don't you share your screen?
Okay, can you see it?
I can. All right, I'm going to count you down. And then I'll count you down 3, 2, 1. Look for a 30-second warning in chat. 3, 2, 1, go.
Everyone, my name is Mark Carson. I'm the CEO and founder of Deceptio.AI. In short, what we do is AI-powered deception detection. And what that means, with a high degree of accuracy, we're going to analyze a person's written or spoken words and tell you if they're being deceptive and what that information can mean. My screen froze there, Scott. Okay, so the problem is manual deception methods right now are not scalable. Everybody's familiar with polygraph, body language analysis, microfacial expressions. None of those methods are scalable, and there's no cost-effective solution for analyzing data at scale for actionable intelligence to determine if there's deception. A couple of examples right now: annually, $308 billion a year is lost in the insurance fraud space. $250 million a year we lose in our TSSCI security clearance space. The solution is Deceptio can analyze data at scale, cost effectively, and we can be easily integrated into the back end and front end of enterprise and government systems. Deceptio version 4.0 is what we're talking about here today. That's our patented IP. That's going to be the future of how AI generated intelligence gathering is conducted. That's going to be a future point where the individual on your screen, you're not going to know if they are an AI generated avatar or not. They're going to be so lifelike in their human appearance, actions, and the way that they speak, and they're going to operate in real time and gather and assess information in real time and use that for actionable intelligence going forward. Our total addressable market right now stands at just over $1 trillion based on the industries that we already currently have traction within: the intelligence community, law enforcement, HR, software as a service company, law firms, corporate security, social media. We have about 24 different industries right now that we've got use cases in, and 18 that we have actual customers in. What makes us unique, again, we can deploy Deceptio at scale and analyze data at scale in a very cost-effective manner. And as everyone knows, the spice of what the future is all about data, and being able to analyze that data and make actionable intelligence decisions based on the truthfulness or deceptive indicators in that language and information is what's critical. So our current traction in these industries: insurance fraud, law enforcement, attorneys, intelligence, therapists, private investigators. Right now, we have a very healthy pipeline of about $11 million. We probably forecast we're going to close $2.5 million of that. Some of our prospects right now are involved in large-scale proof of concepts. We've got a couple of large-scale POCs upcoming with some large insurance carriers. And we also have excellent feedback so far. Everybody likes the tool. They like the product. They say it's very user-friendly. Our target markets mentioned before, the pricing strategy is very straightforward. Because we are a software as a service solution, we're going to charge $38 a month, but we do 1-year contracts and we do usage-based billing. The usage-based billing is where the large revenue opportunities come into play with large commercial environments. The channel strategy, direct sales, and building strategic OEM partnerships, which we already are partnered with 3 of the largest defense contractors in the United States. Financial projections stem from year 1 being around 300 and year 3 being around 4.8 million. Funding, we're looking for $2 million in exchange for 20% equity. The use of those funds are going to be to enhance the current version, which is 2.0, make the final tweaks to version 3.0, and to begin wireframe and building out 4.0, which is the AR generated avatar. We've already done a modest seed fund raise, and we're seeking growth funds right now. And to go over the key founding team, myself, Mark Carson, bringing 20 plus years experience of working in SaaS operations. Our co-founder, Mark McClish, who developed this proprietary methodology for detecting deception, former U.S. Secret Service agent, former U.S. Deputy Marshal, spent more than 3 decades. We've trained over 25,000 individuals within law enforcement, the intelligence community, HR space, legal space, and how to detect deception. We happen to be the first company that's turned this into an automated AI. I think I'm good on time there, Scott, so happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, you got plenty of time, see, about so if you have a question, raise your hand in the chat. And Howard, I'm gonna ask you a question first, and I'll jump on with Howard. So I think it was Marco Rubio, wasn't he just deep faked recently? I mean, there's got to be significant, government implications. Do you want to share a bit about that?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, one of our use cases is within social media space. So we do analyze pop culture, prominent media personalities, individuals in politics, as well as in business as well. So we can analyze their open statements, and in our world, that information is called OSINT, open source intelligence, and we can analyze that information, and we can tell an individual reader with the high degree of accuracy if that individual is being truthful in their statements.
Oh, that's crazy. Howard, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, so we invested in one of the micro-expression companies based out of Europe called Predictive.AI, and it was really great. At first, had a very high visibility, a very positive pitch like this, but unfortunately, it was using video only, and so it had a limited TAM, because only market research companies, maybe the odd casino, and police organizations were interested in it. What's your input methods? Is it verbal? Is it a combination with verbal and audio, video? What is it?
Yep, and this is also going to answer June's question: is how we capture that total available market. What's that percentage of that 1 trillion? How we're going to do it? So there's 3 forms of data that you can ingest: video, audio, text. We have everything converted down to text because that's the most cost-effective and quickest way to analyze any type of data is text double byte character data sets to get technical. That makes it very simple. It makes it very easy. It's very scalable and it's very cost effective. So we rely upon the customer to have that information converted into text, which everybody already does. If they're ingesting data via video, if they're ingesting data via audio, they always have an output mechanism, which is in the form of a transcript, which then gets fed into Deceptio.
So thanks for that, Howard. June? Oh, you want to follow up, Howard? Go ahead.
So, I was like, you know my question? I didn't even ask it yet.
Well, you said earlier you want to know how I'm going to capture that TAM. So yeah, so we provide the most economical means possible. Here's an example. We're a startup company. I have a contact now within the intelligence community, former CIA. They worked on a project 3 years ago where they would have deployed this across the agency. He said we had petabytes of data that we needed to analyze, and we had no means or method to do that type of analysis. And the example that I gave, I actually met with CIA and gave them a detailed presentation, and I analyzed some open source intelligence based on what something President Assad said in 2017. And that was the exact use case this individual with CIA told me that they were analyzing. To give you an idea of what petabytes of data would mean in terms of
That is actually not my question.
Excuse me?
That is actually not my question. So
go ahead, June.
If I could ask your question. Yeah.
Go ahead, June.
So the question I actually have is, so I think this is very interesting, but I also have a behavioral science company that can actually, it's patented based on research, can measure unconscious and conscious behavior patterns, right? And they also use text, but they use it because of behavioral language. You say you use text, but what I want to understand is what I'm not quite sure I'm quite convinced of is I understand it's great now, and it sounds great. I want to understand how by just using text, you'll be able to identify avatars and deep fakes.
Well, that's our patented IP that we're working on right now. So
give me a high level. You don't have to give away the secret sauce, but you should be able to tell me high level.
I can't. That's what we're patenting.
Okay, you got to figure it out, because if you can't tell me high level so that I'm convinced that this is actually going to work, then it's just like, just trust me. But and
right. Well, this is a 5-minute meeting. If we had a more detailed meeting, we could go in that. If we had an NDA, I could disclose all that information with you.
All
I think we need a better answer, but okay.
Appreciate that. Any other questions for Mark? Awesome. Mark, obviously we'll forward all that information so you can do your follow-up with anybody who has more interest. Thanks again, Mark. Next up, we have Dan from Drum Talk TV. You there, Dan?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Why don't you share your screen? All right, I'll count you down. Look for 30 seconds in chat, but I'll count you down now. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Shinder. I'm the founder and CEO of Drum Talk TV, and we are releasing our first business to consumer offering, which is Drum Talk TV Brilliance. It's an experiential membership site for all types of music fans. It's not just for drummers. We have 1.3 million followers on social. That's our sum. We're not going with the 750 million estimated music fans on the planet, or even the 100 million people a year that we reach online. We're going with our followers. That's our close market. And what we're looking to do is get 39,000 of them into our base level membership price of $12 a month. A full year of that is 5.6 million in revenue. The problem and opportunity is that consumers are stressed, going all the way back to the Great Depression. When we have these financial crushes, all kinds of other angst going on in the world, consumers have always spent money on one thing, and that's feeling good. We're a jester brand. We bring fun. We bring feel-good stuff. That's the lipstick effect, spending money on something that makes them feel good. That's what we provide, healthy escapism, and anyone can afford our baseline product at only $12 a month. This is an example of one of our experiences, live streamed concerts put on especially for our members in virtual reality amphitheaters. And we also do the same type of thing with fan Q&A sessions with big artists, producers, record executives. And for any music fan, we have really fun twice a month, for now, only twice a month, game shows, music themed game shows where people win prizes and about 12 other fun, unique experiences. So how we make money are subscribers of our membership site, sponsorships of things like our original series, documentaries, and in-person events, and advertising and marketing programs for people to advertise in our feeds. And not just like drumming products, but everything that music fans use as consumers, beverages, healthy snacks, grab-and-go snacks, fashion, things like that. But we're going big. Go big with us. This is the big scale. We're going for a $3 million raise. We want to start Brilliance Entertainment Group. It's interactive. Drum Talk TV is sliding under that. We're growing 6 sister brands. We're going to grow them with the same methodology that I grew Drum Talk TV to over 1 million fans, by the way, with no spends on SEO, advertising, or boosting posts, and bring each of those to 3% plus whatever Drum Talk TV has at the time. Let's say we don't even grow, which we will, of course. That comes to $31.536 million at $12 a month, which is the baseline membership. We're targeting $450,000 of our ad revenue and event sponsorships annually. Here's a 82,000-foot view of our use of funds, and you notice the asterisk there by marketing. Again, I mentioned I grew our platform organically. So imagine what $500,000 would do of the $3 million for marketing to not only grow those other sister brands quickly, but drive traffic to the membership site. So that's a snapshot of that. Our leadership, as I mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO and currently the president. As soon as we get funded, we are going to hire an expert president out of our space. Stephen is the chief operating officer and executive producer. He works with the record companies, management, PR companies, and artists themselves to get the guests. Norm Weiss is an investor advisory board member, as is David Blackledge, as is Mark Zaveda. And Tom Fulcher is our senior advisory board member. And amongst members of this group have raised collectively over $100 million in funds over the last 10 years. I bootstrapped the company with about $350,000 over the first 7.5 years. And we've raised, currently now it's $530,000 of our seed round, which will close at 600 at the end of this month, either way. And that's our accounting firm and our legal representation. And that's me, my contact info, and our exit strategy is within 5 years, we want to sell to one of our industry peers or another media company that wants music under its portfolio or a private buyer. And that's it.
All right, if you have a question for Dan, you can raise your hand. Dan, I'm going to start it off. Obviously, content delivery is a massive business with a ton of 800-pound gorillas. Okay.
Yep.
And some of these 800-pound gorillas are even moving down to advertising-based models and non-monthly fee models. So talk to me about how you're going to compete within that universe and kind of the pricing structure of these other companies.
So we've looked at the pricing structure of both the advertising and the subscription model. The subscription model is our lead revenue generator that we're working with now and counting on. And it is right in line with not just other subscription models within our space, but completely outside of music and entertainment. Other lifestyle brands in the automotive industry, health and wellness, parenting, different things like that. When it comes to content and the way we present our content, not that we are the best. I don't think there is a best. It's subjective, but no one can out Drum Talk TV the way we Drum Talk TV. If I can show a slide of some of the people that we work with,
Sure.
This is the kind of relationships that we have with a lot of different artists, either these artists directly or people that are playing with these artists now or have worked with these artists, many A-list artists and contemporary artists as well. So it's not just up and comers. We're deep in the trenches with the record labels and the artists themselves. So again, a lot of it's anecdotal just because of the way we present content as well. But it's why
So
our
Dan,
engagement
obviously,
is so high too. Sorry.
You put up that slide with the artists that you're working with. Maybe define the nature of that relationship and what's the benefit to them to work with you.
Oh, thank you. We'll start with the benefit for them. They all, especially in today's world of media and just the way the world works since Windows 95 put everyone on the internet. I think there's 3 people not on it yet, but there's so much noise out there. And we are an enormous platform reaching about 100 million people a year where they can talk about their upcoming album, their upcoming event, their private lessons, the autobiography coming up. It goes on and on and on. So we are that platform for them. In relationship, what they do for us is they come on our show and they provide those live stream private concerts. They do the fan Q&A sessions. They'll do interviews. They'll guest host a news desk report, different things like that.
Okay. Howard, you got a question? Go ahead, Howard.
Just a quick one. Why wouldn't you go for a strategic investment from all these different record companies and those folks?
It's a great question. We haven't approached that yet. I believe that if we get private money first and grow a lot of our scale, we'll be able to show entities like that some further traction. Traction so far is that we've basically beta test, focus grouped, and soft launched the membership site, and we already have a few hundred members. We haven't even hard launched it or put any real advertising in place. So I think to really corner that part of the funding market, I think we would need a lot heavier traction.
Yeah, that Howard brings up a good question. With some of the artists, Brian's in the celebrity space. You're finding a lot of celebrities, influence, and others making investments, and not only do you get the dollars, you get the influence. I mean, what's that strategy look like with some of the folks that you know?
It's a really touchy subject. The perception that we have amongst the consumers is very similar to the perception that we have with the artists and the relationships, and why previously just a Kickstarter type crowdfunding program didn't work, because it would be like Sports Illustrated or National Geographic asking the consumer for money. That's the way it was perceived, and it flopped. With the artist and what you're suggesting, we risk word getting around that, oh, Drum Talk TV's in trouble. They're asking me for money. Like, why are they asking me for money? We don't want that to get around, and we don't want to ruin the relationship that I described to answer Howard's question, to be able to get them, or rather your question before Howard's, to get them involved with everything that we're doing. So it's really touchy and something that we're still feeling out and investigating.
Well, I can tell you there's at least 3 people on this call that specifically use celebrities and influencers as their lead investors. So something to keep in mind.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks for being on the call, Dan. Next
you.
up, we got Leigh. Leigh, you there? Leigh, are you is your audio on?
I think so. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get my side squared away. All right, they're going to count you down. 3, 2, 1. Look for 30 seconds in chat. 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to the wonderful world of math skills and drills, where learning math is a ball. Hi, I'm Leigh Smith, founder of Math Skills and Drills. We're seeking $750,000 to give us a year of runway to effectuate a change in the way students process, understand, and apply mathematics to their everyday lives. The problem: as a former math teacher and math professor, I saw students, elementary through college, struggle firsthand in math. Too many of over 50 million students in this country aren't getting the education they deserve. We're seeing the largest decline in math in 50 years. Students have been staring at screens all day, and it's not working. Virtual teachers, PowerPoint presentations, and app-only ed tech delivery. This is a nationwide problem for our students, our parents, and ultimately our economy. We take students out of the classroom and bring them to the gym, where they engage in kinesthetic learning, which provides great benefits across the board. It's for all grade levels, boys and girls, basic math through ACT prep, which is different from most creative learning programs out there. We've seen a 33% in student grades, an 18% increase in their graduation rates, and a 21% increase in their state math scores. More than 3/4 of our parents out there want hands-on education. We're bringing the physical aspect to gamification. Parents, we hear you. This is a $28 billion market demanding innovation. We have a multi-stream revenue model focused on school contracts and paid partnerships. We're going to add to that direct-to-consumer and licensing models. What are our fees? $10 to $25 per student per session. We're looking at school licensing, potentially a white label or gray label powered by us, as well as licensing with national basketball programs. Our key competitors are classic ed tech and tutoring companies who rely mostly on, rote-based learning with no physical engagement. Our competitors
Leigh, I'm going to stop you for a minute. It doesn't believe your slides are rolling on the screen. Do you want to try to progress them a little bit? We're still on your first slide. We want to make sure everyone gets the benefit of your presentation.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
That's okay. Technical things happen.
Let me start over.
Yeah, let's pull it back up again. Yeah, slide. Do that one more time. This is
right.
too important. This is too important for someone who got a C in math all the time. So.
Okay. All right, there we go. Hold on, let me escape and go back. All right. My apologies. Is everybody, are you able to see me?
I can't see it now. Share your screen. Green button on the bottom.
Oh Lordy, sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
All right, here we go.
Take your time.
Oh Lordy. All right, should I start over?
Yeah, we'll let you start over. Hold on
Or
one
no?
second. Let's make sure the slides work first. Go slideshow from the beginning. All right, try to go to the next slide. Make sure we can see it. Okay, go. All right. Why don't you start right there? Or start wherever you want.
Start at traction. You want me to start at traction?
Sure, let's start there. Then we'll go back to slides and Q&A. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, you ready? Okay. Our key competitors are classic ed tech companies, tutoring companies who rely on mostly rote-based learning with no physical engagement. Our competitors tend to be quite costly. Our program, however, has been tested and offers an incredible competitive advantage in providing physical activity, math instruction, and movement-based learning. We do have traction. We've served over 2,500 students across multiple states, and we've been successful in all of them. Our growth forecast. Over the next 2 years, we're looking at upwards of $1 million in revenue. By year 3, we'll aggressively start licensing in the South and Midwest first. We do expect to have those school contracts, however, exceed that $1 million by the end of year 2. We're able to scale quickly with this investment. We're also looking at the fact that our actual expenses are minimal. Therefore, our profit margin is much better. Our team includes myself, founder and 30-year educator, Lucas Patterson, a former pro player and coach, Chris Campbell, our sports relations advisor and professional athlete consultant, David Blackledge, our corporate counsel advisor, and Joe Beck, our national sales advisor. We also have educational policy and finance advisors as well. Our ask, $750K gives us a 12 to 15 month runway with 10 to 15 times ROI on your investment. Again, this is a very scalable model with recurring revenue and potential licensing in the out years. That investment takes us well into year 2. Our use of funds, 25% in product development, 30% in marketing expenses, 20% in team onboarding and training, and 15% in operations with the balance in cash. Thank you, and join us in transforming K-12 education, math skills and drills where learning math is a ball. My apologies
Oh.
for the tech problem.
That's okay. We'll clean up the technical stuff in Q&A. So if you have a question for Leigh, you can raise your hand in chat and I'll call on you. So Leigh, obviously it's a big problem, education, but schools are strapped for money. And obviously, when my kids are in school, they were constantly, cutting programs and doing fundraisers. How are the schools able to afford this program?
Well, they have Title I funds.
Okay.
Some of them have large endowments. They also use ESSA funds.
All right. Howard, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, you took one of my questions, so that was a key one. Related to that is your sales cycle. Like, tell me how do you go about getting a school or a school board to adopt this, and what's that time to money time frame look like? From the time you start discussions, you get a pilot done, then they deploy it through a school, and then they get it through to a district. What's that time length?
Usually within 8 weeks, we're able to go in and do a brief. Well, if we haven't done a pilot already, we go in and we introduce the program. If the school accepts the program, then we actually offer a pilot initially so they can see the effectiveness, just like we just did in Memphis. We did 5 schools and we piloted the schools. Upon the completion of the pilot, then that's when their board meets and determines whether they're going to adopt the program in the school. Typically, we have the first payment by the end of the first quarter, and then our final payment upon completion of the program. So for example, if we have a minimum of 30 students per school, at an average of $1,000 per student, then we're making $30,000 minimally per school. It's a 20-week program and it's 40 hours. So we see kids 2 days a week, 1 hour each day.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you.
Great. So share a little bit about the competitive landscape. Obviously, I was part of junior achievement, some other after school and during school programs. What is different, or what's your competitive advantage about the other after school and supplemental education programs?
Well, one of the things is that we're bringing the kids to the gym. So now they're engaged in physical activity, which is different than most of the other companies because people are just looking at their screens. The kids are just looking at screens all day. So bringing them to the gym changes their learning environment. Also, it gives them a chance for social, emotional learning, which we know we have some issues in that area across K-12 schools, as well as diversity. So children can learn how to interact with people from various backgrounds.
Awesome. Pablo, I got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Leigh. Thanks for your presentation. Just one question. I mean, we've looked at all kinds of educational and training companies too. There are a lot of people measuring the impact of these kinds of programs. And one of the things that certainly helps people accelerate is when they can get evidence that their methodology for learning, in your case, more gym, social, emotional kind of stuff, is having an impact in the long-term outcomes. I don't know if I missed it. Is there any outside evidence that this is being effective in terms of as a learning tool?
Yes, sir. We've seen over 2,500 students, Colorado, Tennessee, Minnesota, and Texas. And out of those 2,500 students, we've done pre and post tests to measure their gains. And we followed their progression during their class, during the school year. So we followed them from the beginning in math to the end. And that's where we were able to gather that data. So as a result of program implementation, we've seen a 21% increase in state math test scores and an 18% increase in those graduation rates, as well as a 33% increase in those students' grades. For one, they want to come to school. They actually want to do the program. They want to get out of the math class. It's boring. And, and kids have people in general just have a fear of math. So changing that environment has really been a big difference maker.
Leigh, that intuitively makes a lot of sense. One of the companies we had been rated by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation kind of stuff. So if you guys, it would really help you in your go-to-market if you're able to get a third party to kind of take those results and put it in a study versus other programs. Just 2 cents there, because it sounds very compelling. The states will move more quickly with third party evidence.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your input.
Fantastically. Thanks for that. So, all right, what we're going to do, we have our last company presentation. And after that, I'm going to ask for a couple of things. I'm going to ask for our investor panelists to give some overall feedback on the company presentation and some recommendations on the presentation. And then what I'll do is I'll open it up for some questions. If anyone has a question that you want to pose to our entrepreneurs, or actually our investors, you can do that. And then we'll close at the end. And then you can have at it in the chat room and, talk about yourself after that. So with that, I'm going to have our last presentation. Christian, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All righty. All right. You've done this a couple of times. Go Bulls. One second
can you see my slides?
I can. You want to put them in slideshow mode? That might be easy to see.
I think it should be in show mode now. No?
Yeah, not currently. Try one. There we go. All right. All right, Christian, I'll give you a 30-second warning in chat, and I'll count you down now. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Christian Brechot, the founder and chairman of the Healthy Aging Company. This company is developing a new drug candidate for diabetic neuropathy and cognitive disorders based in the US and in France. We are raising 5 million. We already got 2 million. And we have an exit strategy through licensing or acquisition by a pharma after a phase 1/2A end of 2018. The problem on the left, we all know that diabetes is a major issue, sometimes underappreciated. Many patients have diabetic peripheral neuropathy, and this is still a complete unmet medical need and not treated in particular by GLP-1 receptor agonists. On the right part, as you know, more than 80% of patients with Alzheimer's have type 2 diabetes, and this is also an unmet medical need. It's a huge market opportunity. Our solution, this is a new drug with a well-characterized mechanism of action. Obviously, I don't have time to go there, but the key point is that it directly targets resistance to insulin. This is the only one. And at the same time, it is anti-inflammatory, has metabolic activities, and is a tissue repair. We have excellent preclinical data on the treatment of diabetic peripheral neuropathy and the treatment of cognitive disorders, and these are the two focus of the company. Now, this slide is important. It shows that we position our molecule as a complement, not as a concurrent, not in a competition, with GLP-1 receptor agonists. On the left, GLP-1 receptor agonists do not treat resistance to insulin, although they are obviously breakthrough. They are not efficient on diabetic neuropathy. They might prevent cognitive disorders, but they have no therapeutic effect. In contrast, our molecule, as I said, restores the sensitivity to insulin, has effect on muscular potential, and improve diabetic neuropathy and Alzheimer's disease. We already have very good preclinical data. So the positioning of our molecule is that it will be used in addition of the GLP-1. Now, very interesting, we recently have contact with a large pharma, one of the large pharmas working on the GLP-1 receptor agonist, and they are interested to discuss with us. So we have a very solid portfolio of patents, of course, available for due diligence. We are, I think, an interesting team I'm the founder. I'm professor at the University of South Florida, former president of the French NIH, Pasteur Institute and the company, entrepreneurial activities. My friends are both MDs and very successful entrepreneurs. We have a scientific high-level scientific working with us, scientific consultants, advisors for commercial development, to high-level scientific boards, both from Europe and the US, on neuroscience, on diabetes. Now, this is really the slide which shows the path to development. On the left, and very important, we know the safety in humans because of previous studies on the efficacy of the molecule in patients with acute liver failure. So we know how to produce, we know how to deal with the regulatory, and we know the safety. Hence, we went for a pre-IND meeting, which was successful. So we know that with the 5 million, we can get the IND, which will lead to, of course, further investment. That will be a major milestone, initiate a phase 1/2A study. And then if we get even preliminary results in such unmet medical need, we know that we will get a partnership with large pharma, be a licensing, be an acquisition. So this is really what we are talking today about. We know exactly how to use the funding. Of course, I don't have time to go into detail. We have recently obtained, we have been successful with funding, be from French government, licensing of the previous liver patent. More recently, we have grant applications, and we have received funding from business angels and 1 to 2 million of a fund, which is waiting for a lead investor. So my last slide, I think that top to bottom, this is an early project, of course, but we have a proven safety and efficacy in multiple models and in humans. It's a first-in-class drug candidate. We have a very good team. We target, of course, disease with a huge market, and we really have a very good portfolio of all the necessary assets. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you, Christian. If you have a question for Christian, you can raise your hand in chat, and we'll call on you. Christian, you obviously had that comparison slide about GLP versus what you're doing now. Yeah. Although your goal is not to be a weight loss alternative, do you see that possibility? You know, you mentioned some pharmaceutical companies coming to you. Maybe you can share a bit about that.
Yeah, now that's a good question. With our treatment, we do not induce weight loss. I think that the situation is that what large pharmas, which have been very successful with the GLP-1 receptor agonist, but you know that there is a huge competition between them, are products which will be efficient on what is not being targeted by the GLP-1 receptor agonist. And these are really the neurological lesions which are associated to diabetes. So we really see this as an addition, but this is not a weight loss. It will compensate, I would say, some side effects which are potentially induced by weight loss molecules.
Right. And the reason I ask a question, because as you know, and I think it's true, is that this weight loss medication didn't start out as a weight loss medication. Yeah. They realized it was helping in that cause, so they pivoted, to a large consumer, opportunity. So I would assume there might be some opportunities there. Obviously, you talked about the strategy. Who are the example? Obviously, there's a lot of pharmaceutical companies. If you were to pick, an ideal pharmaceutical company that would be the person who would license your technology, who would they be and why?
Well, I would go with of course, I cannot disclose, but sure. I think I would go to Novo Nordisk, for example, because they have good products, but they need to have a second generation to fight against Lilly and Gilead. Okay. In other words, I would go to a pharma which is in a way losing the lead and which needs to get back. But you see, as you know, I mean, these large companies, you never know exactly what is their pipelines and what they have
Well, it's interesting you mention that because there was something, I forget, it might have been Merck, made an acquisition because some of their drugs are going off patent and they got to find new
Yeah.
drugs to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
imagine that would be the strategy. Christian, thanks for being today on the call. And we'll obviously
Thank
be
you.
sending out, you can feel free to put your contact information in chat, and then we'll be sending out his information post-event. And again, first of all, I want to thank a couple of people. First of all, thank you for all the people that presented today. It's obviously not easy to do, and sometimes it can be a little challenging. You guys all did an excellent job. So congratulations to everybody that presented today, and a special shout out to our friends at Empowherment. I encourage you to reach out to them and help them in their cause. So what I'm going to do now is I'd like to kind of go around the virtual room, and I'd like to get first some general feedback from our investors about what you heard today, maybe some tips, and then maybe if there's somebody or company that stood out to you, maybe make mention of them. So I'll give you a second to raise your hand before I call on you. But does anyone want to provide any feedback from our investor panel? So let's see. All right, I'm gonna start picking on people, right? There we go. Go ahead, June.
One of the things I would say is everybody, first of all, did a great job. Very interesting companies, lot of great potential. The one thing that, some people did better than others is really to listen, right? We're all of us inarticulate at times, and sometimes even the question we ask may not actually be the question we're asking. So if you as founders can really try to understand what is being asked, try to understand it from the investor's point of view, and to be able to answer it in a way there where it's give and take, not talk too much, not answer it, right? And that's going to really start to create a relationship with the investor, which is what you have to do in order to get investments, because people give to people. People don't give to tech purely, right? Inanimate objects don't fund each other, right? So you have to start to build that relationship somehow.
Yeah, the robots aren't making the investments yet. That's for sure. So June, you had a lot of feedback on all the presentation. Was there one company that kind of stood out that you thought was more extraordinary than the others?
Well, not that I don't, it's like picking the baby, right? But from our standpoint, and for what, we tend to be interested in, definitely the, sorry, I'm spacing the name right now, but the trust company, right? The digital vault, I think is a great innovation, especially because it's tied to an escrow account. And there are big issues around people dying. Their social media accounts are not like taken care of. I've gotten birthday notices for people that have been dead for 3 years.
Yeah.
And that account has to be shut down or, transitioned into something else. But sometimes people their family members can't even get the passwords, right?
That's a really interesting point because, the reality is you're right. There's a lot of dormant social media accounts out there. In fact, someone on LinkedIn today.
Zombie social media accounts.
Took over someone's LinkedIn account to say that this person had died. And you would think there could be a system in place that would say, okay, someone gets the passwords and someone can control the social media. So that's a really valid point. I appreciate that. So Tim, are you still there, Tim Holiday?
Yeah, you bet.
So I'd love to get your feedback on what you heard, maybe some tips and tricks.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. Like 5-minute pitch is challenging. Kind of distilling everything you've been working on for months and years down to 5 minutes is the impossible task. So it's meant to be kind of a bit of an appetizer, a teaser, and I think everyone did a great job at that. As investors, it's kind of like we have a frame as to what we know we want to see and ask, and if it doesn't happen to line up in the 5 minutes, it can be challenging to not like automatically, kind of discount that company or that founder And so it's important for us as investors to be, open to the idea that there's more. But, even to kind of June's point, as part of her feedback directly to one of the founders, like there are some just key things you've got to be able to talk about, and that's important. I think for me, my own personal bias, I also have to kind of try to set aside in just progress of the company, right? We're going to see even in early stage, kind of a broad range of progression and status of where you're at. Also, founders come from different backgrounds. You got PropertyLens, Bob, decades, and also same with I think it was Loved, just years of building companies, and others that are just new to the game. And so,
Right.
it's a variety. It's a mixed bag. It always is. I think everyone did a pretty good job.
I appreciate that. So David Blackwell, Jenny, you've had a couple of companies that you were on the slides as an investor and or advisor. So maybe David, for the companies that, if you're there, David, for the companies that you are involved with, maybe share why you got involved, and then maybe provide some feedback about the other companies that presented.
Sure. So first, I just want to say that I'm incredibly impressed and humbled by your other investment advisors and experienced people. I'm probably the low end of the group as far as experience, so I did appreciate all their work. One quick comment on June's comment too. Part of my firm's estate practice, we now want to make sure that people have a electronic life form, so that people can go ahead and change or close accounts electronically. It's very important. We keep, and I know I do, a set of passwords. So when people go and look at the will, they have a set of passwords that they can go in and do those accounts. That aside, I was particularly interested in Leigh's Math Skills and Drills company. Education in America has been falling before COVID, but during COVID, it's even worse. And math scores are the lowest they've been in 50 years. When you look at our global competition, other countries are doing a lot more to develop those expertise in math and other skills in the classroom. So I was particularly interested in that emotionally. And then I'm also connected with Drum Talk TV, soon to be Brilliance Entertainment. I'm a music lover, and just was very impressed by the reach of Dan with literally dozens of incredibly important musicians, and he has direct contact with those people. So I felt that those things were easily understood by the marketplace, and I think people would connect with them for subscriptions or ordering the products. So anyway, but on the other ones, I liked the discussion from Terry about his company and the coverage they have. PropertyLens was interesting to me because I've seen over the last 10 years a number of companies come up and try to change or redistribute things focusing on realtors. And realtors are fairly hardcore in that they don't like a lot of change. And you're giving reports that could actually, in their mind, their first idea is going to be, well, maybe you're going to stop a sale on me, right? So I like their focus on looking at individuals, so the consumer and things like that, people that would care, in fact, want to know things beforehand. So I like the presentations a lot. Again, I think it was mentioned a few times, 5 minutes is tough, but I like the format and that you have to boil down your presentation to the essence of what your company and you were about. So I like the format a lot, and I appreciate your inviting me to participate today.
No, I appreciate that, David. Yeah, it's interesting, and Tim didn't really discuss much about this, but obviously when we first started doing this event, I did it in Phoenix, and Tim and his partner did a 1 minute pitch. And I think and if Forbes is on the call, is still on the call, have her chime in, but the ability to have a number of presentations in your arsenal, because you don't know how much time you're going to get, and you don't know the context of the presentation. And so I think it's, extremely valuable to be able to boil it down. And the irony is I brought it to 5 minutes per request, not by plan. So, but thanks for that feedback, David. Anyone have any questions there? Anything they want to ask? Let's see. I think we've got some folks posting. Go ahead, Howard. I'd love to hear your feedback. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was a really great selection of companies you had. The only thing we focus a lot on companies that have some element of hardware included. That's the only thing that was element missing. But I was really impressed. I mean, when you look at us investors, we tend to focus on those that we know or that we're maybe emotionally tied to, or have some intimate knowledge about. So I was really impressed with Deceptio.AI and what they presented, and I really, as feedback for the team, I thought, other than one or two of the presenters, they didn't show a slide that showed what are they going to do with the money. I mean, you have everything planned out. You know, you're going to ask for whatever this raise is, and then what percentage is going to be spent on the team? Is it going to be spent on technologies, sales, marketing, admin, whatever? And you know, it's like the other gentleman investor said, they want to develop a relationship, get to know the individual a little bit better before they invest. Well, of course, that's like a marriage, right? That's a long-term marriage. And we want to make sure that there's a use of funds slide in every deck.
No, I appreciate that. Any other feedback from our investor panelists? Well, I can open up to questions. We'll take probably about 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so of questions. If you have a question, raise your hand in chat, or you can post it in chat. I'm happy to address those. Thank you, Robin. And obviously, if you want to just post something about your company, you get that opportunity too. So awesome. Well, I have a question to kind of get it started. So, you know, there's been a lot that been said, and I'll let maybe Howard, you're on the screen, so I'll hit you first, and I'll ask you a few people. You know, there's been a real change in venture, quite frankly, over the last probably a year or less, where this has been trend of this seed scaling, where companies are spending less time raising capital, or maybe do one raise and then go forward. So, Howard, I'll start with you, but then I'll go around the room. What's your thoughts on this new form that's happening in the entrepreneur space?
You'll have to start with somebody else, I'm afraid, because I have to run to another meeting. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
I was just about to click off.
Anybody else want
Scott,
to address that question?
I have to go as well, but I can try and give a response real quick. I think from a early stage investor standpoint, I think it's good, right? I mean, raising Series F, I'm just like, what the F? You know? Like, unless you're like not everybody's going to be a unicorn. And I think some of the companies are being smart about focusing on a clear exit. And so that time frame is really focused, you know, and it denotes a clear exit. And I think for investors, that's good. And then we're currently raising a round. And so I'm talking to a lot of LPs that are very, very cranky because they have been in funds for over 15 years, which means there was a 5-year extension and they have not seen any returns on investment, right? And so, you know, remember for founders, like as founders, there was a period of time where founders didn't seem to understand the name of the game is you have to return to the investor. And instead founders were like, we're just going to raise. And, you know, it was almost as if they thought it was a money faucet, right?
Sure.
And it's not. There is an expectation. So
that's really good feedback. And so what I'm going to do, obviously, we're coming up towards the end. We're actually a few minutes over, but what I'd like to do is, first of all, thank our investors for taking their valuable time and being a part of this. Congratulations to our entrepreneurs, and thank you all for being on the call today. And as I close, as I always say, if there's something you didn't like, tell me. If there's something you love, tell everybody else. And with that, I wish you all a very best of luck in the future, and we'll be talking soon. Take care.
Thanks,
Scott.